Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to BiblioTech On Air, BiblioTech's official podcast. I'm Rosanna.
I'm Lewis.
And I'm Ruby.
And today we are going to be reviewing / discussing the book Water Moon by Samantha Sotto Yambao, available on cloudLibrary and Hoopla, and Louie's got a quick summary for us.
Yeah, so on the verge of inheriting her family's magical pawn shop, secretly tucked behind a Tokyo ramen shop and trading not objects but people's regrets, Hana Ishikawa awakens to find the shop ransacked, her father missing, and a precious choice stolen. With the unexpected help of a kind-hearted physicist, she embarks on a dreamlike journey through mystical realms, riding paper cranes, walking across bridges between night and dawn, and visiting a market in the clouds, as chilling secrets emerge and she risks making an irreversible decision.
Wow. Heavy. Heavy themes, heavy symbols, whole bunch of imaginary stuff. So starting off, Hannah's pawn shop trades in life choices and regrets rather than material things, like your usual pawn shop. So what do you guys make of that metaphor?
So I was really hooked by that concept. I wish we had stayed there longer, but we'll get to that probably. I really, really love the concept of a pawn shop where you where something that's been weighing really heavily on you, you get to let go of that burden. I think that a pawn shop inherently is kind of people really associate pawn shops with very skeevy places, kind of pulling the wool over your eyes a little bit, really tricking you out of your possessions. So it's almost really subversive to be this is a pawn shop where yes, you are making a huge decision and you might be you might make a decision that you otherwise would regret, but you get to trade in something that's been weighing really heavily on you and you get to just get rid of that burden. And I think that concept alone is so fantastic, and I feel it's a good subversion on what you'd usually associate a pawn shop with.
It is. You took the words right out of my mouth, because going into the book, I was oh yeah, pawn shops are usually not good places. You associate them being bad. And so I was having a hard time trusting this family, and trusting that it's gonna start off good. Everyone's good. Everyone has no bad things about them so far, but I immediately was I don't know about this family. And then sure enough, it turns out that their regrets, decisions actually end up being a little piece of their souls.
So I mean, right off the bat, you were right to be you know what, this is sketcy.
Exactly. And they were.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah. She lied to everyone. He lied to everyone. They all lied to everyone.
Yeah. So many readers describe Water Moon as a Studio Ghibli movie. Dreamlike visuals, whimsy, and emotional resonance. Did the narrative evoke visual or emotional images in your mind, and what felt most vivid or memorable?
So it was definitely descriptive. It definitely set up different worlds, different scenes. Personally, I wouldn't say it was Studio Ghibli-esque, but I can respect people that do see it as being that. But yeah, the different worlds, the different places we got to visit, it was they were very unique. We got folded paper village / museum. We had a village that set up the stars, the night market. I mean, it was also creative. It just sucks we didn't get to spend a lot of time with them, which is unfortunate. And I get they were being pursued by the She Queen, but this could have easily been a series. I felt we would have appreciated it a little bit more if it was a series instead of shoving everything into one book. Because world building is so there's a lot that goes into it. You can't just smash that in 200 or 300 pages.
I feel this really would have benefited from being a graphic novel or a I was telling y'all, I feel this would make a killer 13 episode animated series, anime, what have you. I feel there's such vivid imagery and such beautiful world building, and I feel the book really prioritizes setting those things up. I feel Samantha Yambao had a really, really good set of ideas and a really beautiful world in her head. It's just kind of a shame that, you guys said, we don't get to spend a lot of time in these areas because they're always go, 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 on the move, on the move, on the move. And I really, really I have not a very good like visual imagination. Like I've got some aphantasia. Like I don't visualize things. But with the very like little that I have, I like, because I had this set up as like it's Studio Ghibli-esque. I imagine it as a Studio Ghibli movie, like as best as I could in my head, and I was just like, I feel like Studio Ghibli could really bring this to life in a way that the book falls flat on a little bit, because it's so visual heavy that by the time that if you translate it into a visual medium, now the story is not weighed down by like, and we're going to describe what this is like, and we're going to set up this mechanic. Like it's very like, I feel like by the time that burden is off its shoulders, that like it's now free to develop the characters more. It's now free to spend a little bit more time in these areas. Like I really think that they could do wonderful things with it. It's just, as a novel, it really drags. Yeah.
So, $1 million question. Did you like Hannah as a character? Why or why not?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, on one hand, it seemed like Hannah, she always had like a get out of jail card for like any situation.
Yeah.
Like she was just like, oh, don't worry, we're going to this place. How are we going to do it? This is the payment, or this is, you know, or like when they're leaving, they're like, oh no, how am I going to escape? Yeah, we're doing this. And like there are times where her character felt infantilized, but then other times where her character felt like, you know, like omnipotent, where it's like, or all knowing, you know. So it was just such a sharp contrast from her being like, no, I don't know what that is in your world, to being like, I know what everything is.
But I mean, that's kind of how all the characters in this world are. Like, that's how they've known their life. I mean, their whole life stories written, inked on their bodies. I think they only see it when it rains, right? They
Water,
see the blue ink all over their bodies of all their stories, their past, present, future, everything, who they're going to marry. So I don't know, maybe that's like a tie to it. Like the fact that she's like, oh, I know everything, you know?
True.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, Hannah's interesting because, like, I personally, I think that she had her really melodramatic moments. Frankly, like, she's going through a lot. Let's be fair, but like, she's the thing that like she would just pull stuff out of nowhere, where it would just kind of baffle me. Where she'd just be like, oh yeah, here when it rains are like tattoos that like tell her whole life story. That everyone in this world has is like, that's what happens. Which, by the way, don't look at mine. I'm ugly. I'm hideous. And it's like, girl, you just said that everyone in this world has those tattoos. And you barely step foot out of your pawn shop. Where would you have possibly gotten the idea that you're hideous? Yeah. You know, like, I understand that like it doesn't say everything that you want it to say, and you're disappointed and you feel limited by it. But the fact that she felt like, oh, I'm visually hideous because I have these tattoos. I'm like, everyone in your world has these. It was just really bizarre. And then like the amount of times that she'd be like, oh, I really like you, Kay, but I'm a monster. Don't talk to me. And it's just like, he's like, okay, we've kind of gotten past the point where like, I'm gonna believe you at your word with this because you keep on saying not everything is as it seems. So are you gonna like, can you tell me what you mean by like you're a monster? And she's like, well, I like you, but I'm like betrothed to somebody else, keeping like the big secret like hidden away. And then he's just like, oh yeah, no, that's not a problem. It's okay. And then she's just like, oh, okay. And then she forgets that she's supposed to be insecure for a little while. And then she remembers when it's dramatically appropriate for her to be insecure again.
Yeah.
You know?
See, I agree with that. Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Kay has the patience of a saint. Yeah, of a saint.
I love Kay. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I love Kay.
Like, just the fact that she just kept pulling him in and pulling him. Like, she'll just give him a little bit and be like, but I'm not going to tell you everything. Like, I'll tell you the rest later.
She had him on a hook.
Exactly. Yep. Which, I mean, slay, but still.
Yeah, but I feel like it didn't feel earned. Because, like, they very much set up, like, the whole, like, oh, yeah, she lies. She has been taught to, like... manipulate. But then it drops that pretty quickly in favor of being like, oh, these two are forming a genuine connection in order to make this whole, like, they fall in love in a few days thing work. But then it's like at the very end, she's like, remember, I'm a liar. I'm a manipulator. I've been wanting to trade you to the She Queen this whole time, but now I'm having second thoughts. It's like, girl, I think you've been having second thoughts this entire time, which is why you keep on saying, like, I'm a monster, I'm a monster, I'm a monster. But it's just like, it gets, oh God, don't even get me started on, like, the last few pages of this book, because it, like, literally will throw everything at the wall and just be like, by the way, were you paying attention to that one line? It's important now. And it's just like, there's so much. Oh God.
Yeah. Her keeps saying, I'm a liar, I'm a manipulator, like, constantly throughout the book. I read this book freshly off of None of This Is True, so I was like, is none of this true in the end? Is that what's gonna happen again?
Yeah, I will say, just very quickly, I think that if they did make, like, an anthology series out of this, if they make any kind of series of it, as much as I do want to be like, oh yeah, we should focus on Hana, she's from an interesting world, female protagonist, you know, I really do think that the reason that many isekai stories work is because it's like the fish out of water, we're learning about this world through him. If we did have a series of this, or if we had a movie of this, I think it would be really smart to follow Kay, because I feel like that keeps Hana's motivations hidden. But the sort of, like, third person omnipotent like narration of this made it seem like it didn't even feel like there was any payoff to, like, oh, did you notice those things she was doing to, like, manipulate him all along? It just felt like she had, like, a heel turn at the end. Yeah. You know?
And, like, he's a scientist. Like, they emphasize so much. He's a physicist. He's a scientist, you know. As
Perhaps
a scientist, wouldn't you want to be, like, investigating these things more? Like, you're not just going to take someone's, you know, word at face value. You see all of these worlds. I don't know. Like, I get the sense.
I mean, he has a little bit of trauma to him, too.
Yeah.
So,
like, you know, I'm just...
I was telling Ruby, like, I really do love Kay, but just, like, the amount of times that he was just like, oh, well, I'm a scientist, I have to, like, I'm always I need proof, I'm always analyzing things, but it's not like a flaw, because he's, like, down for anything, which I think is a good trait of, like, oh, he's very curious, but that's juxtaposed with the amount of times, even really later on, where he'll be like, well, I don't understand how that's supposed to work. And she's like, let me show you, over and over and over again. Like, I was telling Ruby, like, the whole, like, oh, we're going to travel on a song? I don't know how to travel on a song. And then she's like, let me show you. And then, like, days later, hours later, however long it is, at the end of the book, they're like, we need to travel on a rumor. And he's like, well, a rumor? How do you travel on a rumor? And it's like, buddy, Kay, wake up, honey, come on.
You literally
like, program
through a puddle to get through here.
There are 800 modes of transport in this world. Just go with it.
Just go with it.
You do not fill up with a gas tank.
Yeah.
So, aside from Hana, what did y'all think of Hana's relationship with her family?
That's a whole nother friggin' thing right there.
That
okay?
is.
Because it seemed like that was her motivation throughout the whole book, you know, finding her mom, finding her dad, and then, you know, it's like she, again, I get it. They, you know, Kay and Hana, they're supposed to, you know, end up together or whatever. But it's like everything was just thrown aside. Everything was, it wasn't wrapped up, I think. So it didn't wrap up for me in a pleasant way. And it's underwhelming that you find out, like, she's over here like, oh, you know, my mom might be alive. I know my dad went to go find her. And then you see her being like, you know, when she gets to the land where her mom and
she's
her
like,
dad
I don't
are,
want to see my
she's
mom.
Like, I don't want to see my mom. I hate her. Like, I get it. You're gonna be feeling a certain way after everything you know and everything you learn. But girl, you ain't no saint either. Like, come on. Like, you're the pot calling the kettle black. Jesus.
Oh my God. And I think it speaks to the pacing of this book, really, that, like, all of those scenes where it's like, oh, we're world building, like, we have to move. You finally get to the part where she's like, oh my God, I found my father, and my mom's here, who I have a really complicated opinion of. And it's just like, okay, we're going to sit with this a little bit, because like we've found the end of, like, their big magical journey. We're going to sit with this. She's going to reconcile with her father, or, like, you know, take him to task and be like, what, like, why would you do this? Why would you leave me? Why was your hint so vague that, like, I didn't know if you meant come find me or this is where I'm going?
Yeah.
And it's just like, then she sees her mom, but her mom doesn't remember her. She's like, these are all my children, like the little monster children. Like, these are all my children. I named them Hana, but my Hana's a baby, because she just only remembers, like, from whenever she got exiled, you know? And then there's, like, you really think that they're going to, like, have a conversation, like a long conversation. but no, it's just exposition. And then, oops, the She Queen are here. And then her mom for like one line is like, oh my God, you're Hana. You're my daughter. And then she's like, cool. Bye, Mom. Like, it's just like, it's,
nice
and then
meeting you, Mom. You're gonna die.
And then you don't know if they die or not. Like, I don't know if she's like setting up for like a sequel or something. I don't know. But like, she immediately like go. It's like, She Queen are here. Gotta go. Oops, they might be dead. And it's just like, great. So we spent the entire book trying to get them reunited, only for it to go, honestly, shorter than the scene where they were talking to like the porter who was giving them information about where to go next. Like, there was more time spent with Haruto's mom.
I feel like they had a better relationship that was developed, Haruto and his mom and Hana, which, speaking of which, Haruto,
they deserved better.
I love
both of them.
Oh my God.
So speaking of, that can give a segue to the next question. Who did you relate to most, or who did you like the most? Hana, Kei, or any other character, and why?
The goat Haruto.
Haruto, yeah.
Poor guy.
Oh, he was the underdog.
I feel
he deserved
him
better.
Yeah, I feel for him so much. First of all, so cool that he's just like, that whole museum thing where it's just like, the world building in this book is great. Just to be really clear, world building is a little all over the place, but it's awesome. But it's worth that. Like, the price of admission, which is free if you have a BiblioTech Library card, but like worth the price of admission. But like, he runs that museum where he like folds all of like these are like the moments that like butterfly affected like the real world,
like Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, Adolf Hitler not being assassinated like earlier, like stuff like that.
Which, not gonna lie, that was kind of funny. Where she's like, "Have you heard of a man called Adolf Hitler?" He's like,
"It was it was jarring to hear that in the audiobook, because it's just like, wow, I wasn't expecting Hitler's name to be in this." I know. But it's like, literally, like, that museum concept is so cool, and the fact that he's just like, he's living on Haruto's living on borrowed time. Yeah. And he has like constantly, he's like, I owe your father everything. I owe your father everything. And you find out way later, whenever everyone's doing their big exposition up at the end, that like, it's because he was born without a soul, and they were going to like exile him to like where the little monster children go. And he was, Hana's father, Toshio, was just like, no, give a piece of my soul to him. And they both are living on borrowed time now because they're sharing a soul, which is why Haruto feels so strongly about helping him, folding time for him, and gets his hands broken, which, like, those are his moneymakers. Yeah. Like, he gets his, which I didn't get, that the She Queen are like, everyone must serve their purpose. And, like, if someone else can't serve the purpose, like, we can't.
We can't have that happen.
We can't have that happen. But also they break his hands, so the only person who can fold these can't fold these. I don't get it. But either way, I'm on a huge tangent, but basically Haruto deserved better. Haruto deserved so much better.
Our beautiful long-haired, just
fox-like man.
Fox-like man.
Yeah.
King. And then the whole thing with him and Hana too, where it was just like, like, we're destined to be married. And she's over here very dismissive, like, oh, we've known each other since we're kids. It's fine. We don't love each other like that. Yeah. And then meanwhile, completely obvious that Haruto's in love with this girl. Oh, we don't love each other. It's fine.
I know I just made out with you, Kay, but I actually have a husband-to-be. I have a fiance.
I think she was just so kind of caught up too in the fact that her whole life is already written out for her. That I think that was like her one rebellion, or her one way to make her own choices, like, is by going for Kei and not Haruto. But then again, that confuses me, because in the end she's talking about how she set up Kei this whole entire time. Since the moment she saw him, she knew she was going to give him up to the She Queen. But then she was the one who kissed him, initiated the kiss, and was like being very intimate with him in some moments too. So
very intimate.
So it's like, girl, why'd you do that? If you're going to sacrifice him.
Unnecessary to me, but
I like just. Listen, I don't know if we're going to have to cut this, but like, literally, just like I was very jarred by hearing the name Adolf Hitler in this book, I was also jarred that the word nipple is in this book.
Oh yeah, dude, there's for all like, you spicy lovers out there.
Here's my thing with this. It was very much like oh my God, we just met and we're falling in love. And I usually hate that. I will say, during the book, I was kind of rooting for it. I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
But literally, by the time that scene came up and it was like, oh my God, he's like
Yeah.
I was like, part of me was like, you go, you crazy kid. But like, there was also another part of me who was like, why are we?
That was such a detailed, spicy scene that just knocked me.
And then
out
off
of
screen, they have sex, and it's just like, okay, moving on from that, I guess, just as fast as everything else. I mean,
was there any locations or imagery that stuck out to you? I know we visited multiple different parts of this world, like
Louis just mentioned the museum.
The
museum's great.
Then we have the paper village town. Yes. The Star Village where they set up the night sky, the night market.
And
the location of the Horishi where they do the tattooing on people's skins. I mean, there's so many like fascinating locations that, again, I wish we would have gotten more detail about them. But I mean, they were the settings were
top notch.
Yeah.
Was there any that y'all liked or favored?
I want to say the Star Village, because that one, the setup, everything, the description about it was so like hyped up, and it was just like the idea of it was so pretty. The payoff wasn't the best. It seems like they moved away from that super quick, but I do wish we could have gotten more time in that. And the paper village, well, Haruto's, because he lives in like the paper house, and like, you know, their mode of transportation is through paper, so a bit more of that.
Cool.
Yeah, I really liked the museum. Y'all know I'm partial to paper crayons, stuff like that. I loved like the aesthetic of that place and like the purpose of that place. I think it was really cool. I'm with you on the Star Village though. I thought it was really cool, and they were like, wow, I guess you will get to stay to like see us put up the night sky. And then he's just talking with this old woman, and Kay's just like, wait a minute, I know where her father is, and just runs off and doesn't actually look at the sky. And I was like, you guys set it up as like will they be able to stay? Won't they be able to stay? And then she's like, great, you're able to stay. Plot relevant information. He's like, I gotta go. And it's just like,
which the village where the kids are and their parents are, that's another like cool little area.
Yeah.
So,
it was very zombie-esque too.
Yeah.
The way that the kids had like disfigured hands.
Yeah. It was a cool setting. That was a really cool setting. And you can kind of see like how they turn into the She-Queen, because like it builds up the fact that they have talons like as kids.
Yeah.
The She-Queen, by the way, so cool. I'm not gonna get like way into it, but like literally would consider cosplaying them.
Yeah.
Creepy. I wish we would have gotten more of them.
Yes.
The sense of urgency wasn't there, even though they were being persecuted by like these eldritch friggin' decomposing figures.
Yeah, I did call that they were like the children without souls that like grew up. Like I did call that like pretty early on.
Dang.
So whenever they treated that like a reveal, I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They didn't say that.
Knew that.
Yeah.
So overall, what would y'all rate the book? Would you recommend it to anybody else?
I would absolutely recommend this book. I think it's like weirdly like a really cozy read. I actually really enjoyed it. I would go back to sections of it. I would not go back to reading all of it. I would go back to sections of it easily though, just to kind of like live in that world a little bit and like just kind of visualize it, think about it. As for the overall package of the book, I think it has a lot of promise as being adapted into something. I would call it like a 7 out of 10 for me, because I would revisit it. I did enjoy it, but it's like almost there.
I did enjoy it too. I liked that it made me think about choices and regrets differently, how these people in this other world, they don't have the freedom to make choices, so that's kind of keeping them from, I don't know, being like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And the fact when Kay too was like, he didn't know which mistake to give up to pay the entrance fee to go into that museum.
Yeah.
That made me think, like, what mistake would I pay up to go into this museum, you know, if I had to forget one forever?
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
So I
cool.
liked that. I liked the themes of it. I liked the world building of it. I would probably give it like a 7, 8 out of 10. The only downfall, I think it was just like, I wanted more. So if I wanted more, I mean, that's going to be a high rating for me.
Yeah.
Again, it had such a good setup. There's so much. Like, I felt like it was overly ambitious in what it wanted to, you know, put across. I'd like I said, like you mentioned with the choices right now, I did like that, because at the end of the day, it was just like the illusion of choice. Because just because their life was tattooed on them doesn't mean they had to follow those choices. And we saw that with Hana. And again, just seeing like the different aspects of the world, it being just like magical but normal for her, that was really cool. It just seemed like she just wanted to stick everything as much as she could in there, And again, I wasn't a fan of the love story. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was not my thing. It like Louis was saying, you could probably have this book told without like having the love story, and it wouldn't have affected it more.
Yeah.
And again, just a better journey could have probably played out. But with that said, I would recommend it. I know there's people that are going to love this book. It was disappointing for me. I was very unsatisfied when I finished it. So I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. And like Louis said, I might go back and check out sections of it or look up fan art because again, super cool.
I definitely wanted to look up fan art immediately. I was like yes, give me that vibe.
Like this would have crushed with like 3 more drafts, her being okay with killing some of her darlings in the favor of like better pacing, or it being adapted into something where like the visuals speak for themselves and we can focus more on developing the characters and the journey.
And a bit more of a sense of urgency because again, I never truly felt like any of the characters were in danger.
Yeah, no, there were again 800 modes of transport that you can get out of any situation, which is in of itself really cool, but it really neuters the stakes.
Yeah.
Like, sorry that I said it like that.
Sorry.
No, that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
But with that, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Again, if you want to check out Watermoon, make sure you head on over to cloudLibrary and Hoopla. Sign up for a library card if you don't have one already, in person or at bibliotech.org. And yeah, that's going to be it again for our discussion on Watermoon. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Rosanna.
I'm Lewis.
And I'm Ruby.
And we will catch y'all on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.